All right, Tallahassee area, Big Bend area, Panhandle area, Panama City Beach area football fans. It's another edition of the Extra Point. We are in week number 2 of the high school football season. But before we get into anything else, we got to rewind week number 1, Coach. Let's go ahead and run down scores from last week. We had some cancellations, things that moved around, some teams that did not play, but there was plenty of action across the area.
Yeah, things is popping in the state of Florida, and a lot of stuff happened this week. But hey, it's time to move on. Let's talk about last week.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Bozeman Downs FAMU High, 40-6, big win for the Bucks, opening up the season. Baby Rattlers have a lot of questions, more questions than answers right now. We knew they had a young team, but Bozeman, we had a chance to talk to them earlier before the season started, and they look like they're trying to really kind of get into a rhythm so they can be able to make a push for the playoffs, and it starts with a big win like that.
Yeah, it does. They jumped all over the Baby Rattlers, and unfortunately, my old school had a rough day. Maybe this week.
So a big win for the Bozeman Bucks as they down the Baby Rattlers 40-6. Meanwhile, back in the capital city, Leon, best NFC in a shootout, late game theatrics. Leon, what can you say? Coach McGriff and his bunch got it done at home. Big win for the Lions to open up the season against a pretty powerful NFC squad. Eagles definitely are loaded offensively. Had quite a few playmakers, but Leon was able to put the brakes on things defensively to stop that Eagle attack. And man, what can you say about Coach McGriff and his bunch? They were able to get the job done. I think they showed a lot of poise going down the stretch, being able to get a big win at home to open up the season.
Yeah, I'm glad for Coach McGriff. He's been working hard. You go by there, they're always working, and it's, finally some of the production, all the work put in, and a good result.
Then another game in the capital city, Gobby Downs, Fort Walton Beach, 28-6, and a big win for Coach Jones. And this is how you want to do it. You want to start off the season with some big wins. That Gobby defense definitely showed their teeth going into the first game of the season. I saw them in the preseason. They had a very kind of sizable test. Pretty much what you want to see in the preseason is a defense that is able to be competitive, bend, don't break, and they definitely showed that last week against Fort Walton Beach. Gobby Cougars taking that one 28-6 over Fort Walton Beach. Meanwhile, Wakulla and Childs hooked up on the north side of town, and Wakulla and Childs in another shootout. Wakulla was able to best the Timberwolves 21-17, but man, Timberwolves showed a lot of promise, but Wakulla definitely stood their ground, able to get that first opening win on the year. 21-17 was the final score.
Yeah, Mark. Timberwolves came out fighting, gave a good hard contest. Wakulla, seasoned, a veteran coaching staff, and maybe made the difference in a game like that. New coach, just starting out, trying to get his team on board, getting everybody going in the right direction.
So then IMG White taking on John Paul, and John Paul had their hands full. Anytime you take on an IMG squad, you're going to have your hands full. Panthers fall 18-41 down in Bradenton to IMG White. Then back in the capital city, Deerfield Windsor comes into town to take on the McClay Marauders coming down from Albany. And McClay was up early, had a 21-7 lead early in the ball game, and just fell apart in the second half. And man, Coach Coley was not excited about what he saw in the second half. I think the Marauders definitely showed a lot of promise, but you got to play 4 quarters in order to be able to outlast your opponents. And the Marauders just didn't do that as they fall in a nail biter. Plenty of opportunities to turn the tide, but just weren't able to muster up enough firepower as they fall to Deerfield Windsor 30-28. Tough loss for the Marauders to open up the year. Meanwhile, Alcilla Christian and Halifax 7-6. And Coach, was that a final or did that game not finish?
I think they didn't finish the game, and we'll find out. I think he sent me a text. It went past me. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I don't think they finished that game. A lot of games in the eastern part of the area got cut short.
Yeah. Just a little bit concerns with weather. It's always like that to open up the football season. Some other games going on around the Big Bend area. Swanee Downs Palm Coast, a big win for the Bulldogs to open up the season 33-13. And that's what you want to see from a Kyler-led group. You know, it's just one of those things where, you know, you get playmakers in and playmakers out, but he really had a young team last year, and looks like a lot of those guys are growing up fast, and that's how you want to start off the season, with a big win. Meanwhile, Hamilton County Downs Jefferson County 32-20. Coach Footman and his group took a tough loss, but definitely will have to rally the troops as they move on throughout the season. Walton County Best Bluntstown, 35-7. And man, I'm kind of surprised. I thought Bluntstown would definitely be a little bit more competitive in that one, but that might be a testament to what the Walton Braves have on their squad. That's a huge win for the Braves, being able to take on a Coach Jordan-led team like that and being able to beat them by 28 points. That says a lot.
Yeah, it does, Mark. They went into Bluntstown and did that. That's more impressive because that's a tough place to play.
One of the toughest places to play in the Big Bend.
And Walton, I think they're going to have a pretty good season. They look pretty sharp in that game.
Yeah, we had a chance to talk to them before the season started, and we knew that they were going to be relying a lot on their defense. But, man, that's a pretty powerful defense to be able to go on the road on week number 1 and be able to take out one of the more potent teams in the 1A rural classification. Meanwhile, around the area, Port St. Joe opens up the season with a big win over Liberty County 34-14, and Mariana Downs Holmes County 28-14. Big wins for the Tiger Sharks and the Bulldogs, respectively. Other scores from around the area: Brookwood blanks Weewa Hitchka 41-0, and then Jay Downs Vernon 20-13. Coach Tillman and his Yellow Jackets followed by a single touchdown in that one. Some other scores from around the area: in the Panhandle, Ashford Best Graceville 42-6. Moving back across the Big Bend, Lafayette in the nail biter, and we're not sure if that one finished either, but Lafayette was up on Dixie 7-6, and that one might be counted as final.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't get a text. It didn't tell me whether that was a final or not, so I'm assuming it is. Weather was really bad in that part of the state.
So, yeah, you know, every time you open up the season, you always have a couple of cancellations. We are in the middle of hurricane season. We'll get to that a little bit more later in another episode. North Bayhaven Downs Franklin County blanked them 42-0. Big win for the Buccaneers. Meanwhile, out in the Panhandle, Chipley beats Hollis Christian 32-0. Big win for the Tigers. They look like they're picking up where they left off last year, Coach. They went undefeated in the regular season, and they still got their foot on the gas.
Yeah, it looked like Chipley's back where they started, and that's what you expect out of them. They have a successful program, and they're always on the winning side of football.
Other scores to round out the scoreboard: South Walton beats Baker, another big win for the Seahawks, 35-7. Baker, no slouch, one of the better teams in the 1A classification. South Walton beats them by 28. Bay Downs Arnold 49-0, and that's pretty much how you want to open up the season. Coach Brown and company able to do exactly what they wanted to do, beating up on their crosstown rival out in Panama City. Destin Downs Freeport 31-15, and Florida High and Lincoln were not active in week number 1. They'll make up those games later on in the season as Lincoln was off. So, Coach, man, a good slate of games for week number 1, and we saw a lot of action. We saw some teams that surprised us a little bit, and then we also saw some teams that did exactly what we thought they were going to do.
Yeah, I was happy for the new coaches in the area, Gabi and Leon finally getting off the snide, getting a win early, which they both struggled last year, and getting a good start to the 2023 season.
So that is the week number 1 rewind. We will definitely keep an eye out on week number 2. We got a great slate of games coming up for week number 2. We got a team headed down to Disney to take on an opponent, and we got another a couple of makeup games here, but we want to remind everybody to please be safe here, as we've had plenty of activity from the hurricane and the storm. Definitely our thoughts are with the Taylor County football program, as they lost their press box due to the heavy winds from the storm. So our thoughts are definitely with them, and we'll have to see how we can get in contact with Coach Metcalf and see what they need down there. But our thoughts are definitely with them. But this has been the Extra Point, and we'll catch up to everybody in our next episode. We will run down the schedule of week number 2 games. This is the week number 1 rewind. I'm Mark Adams, and with my tag team partner, as always,
Coach Cofield.